When you run a cash-based business like I do, and that goes for any retail, if you don't have the right processes and procedures in place, your staff are going to steal from you. There are sticky fingers everywhere, and it is going to happen, and it's embarrassing, but here's one way that I've been caught a couple of times. And this is how it works. This is the scam. At the end of every day, a restaurant cashier does what's called a closing, which means they count up all the cash in that cash register, and they reconcile it against what the point-of-sale system says is supposed to be the right amount of cash. Now, the restaurant manager is supposed to deposit that money in the bank at the end of the shift. Some restaurants do this twice a day, but a lot of restaurants only do it once a day. If it's late at night, that cash goes into the safe in the restaurant and it's deposited the next morning. Now, restaurant managers that understand that the boss may not be checking every day may decide that they don't need to deposit that cash every day. Maybe they start to deposit it every 2 or 3 days. So what happens? That available cash in the safe becomes a line of credit for the restaurant manager or the staff within the restaurant. They start to borrow from that money and use it like an ATM machine. And what they do is when they deposit the money in the bank, they use tomorrow's revenue or the day after's revenue to cover the deposit for a few days earlier. Now, if the restaurant owner doesn't realize that this is happening, maybe they start to delay more and more, and they start to deposit cash into the bank once a week, once every 2 weeks, and what ultimately happens is that enough money goes missing where the manager gets himself into a bind. He can no longer cover the shortfall and make that daily deposit, so one of a few things happens. Either they get more aggressive and start stealing your kitchen equipment, they start selling more inventory to cover their losses, or they just resign or run away. This happens all the time. So how do you stop this? How do you ensure this isn't happening to you? Well, the first thing you do is if you run a cash-based business is go into your restaurant immediately, unannounced, and check if all the cash that's supposed to have been deposited is deposited. If it's not, check the safe. If there's any cash missing, it's a reality check. It's not a mistake. It's